Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Zevachim Kuf Beis. We begin on Kuf Aleph Amud Beis on the very last line. We begin with a kasha on Rav, who tells us yesterday that Moshe Rabbeinu was actually a Kohen Gadol. Starting from the Yeshivas Yimei Miluim, he was appointed as Kohen Gadol and was able to serve in the Mishkan like a Kohen Gadol. And the question is, Meisvei, here comes a kasha. Because in the following brisa, it seems to indicate otherwise, that he actually was not a Kohen. So the brisa begins with a question. Meisvei, Miriam, Mihiskira. As we know, Miriam Hanaviyah experienced a nega. A nega has to be attended to by a Kohen, who will inspect it, determine, its status, confirm whether she's tamei or not. So if you need a Kohen for that. The options in the midbar were very limited. Who took care of it? Mihiskira, who sent her into quarantine? Imtaima Moshe Gira. Was it Moshe Rabbeinu? No, Moshe Zaru. Moshe was a ordinary person. He was not a Kohen. Vein Zar, Royas and a Goyim and a Zar. He was not qualified to inspect a nega. Rashi brings the pasuk, V'huva al Aaron, right? You need a Kohen. So right off the bat we see the kasha. Here Moshe is a Zar, as in contrast to Rav, who says Moshe was a Kohen Gadol. Okay, let's just continue with the brisa first. Yom Taima, Aaron is Gira. Okay, perhaps Aaron HaKohen, the brother, took care of it. Once again, that's not possible. Why? Aaron Karefu. Aaron was a brother, a close relative. Vein Karev Roya Esan Goyim. A Karev does not have the authority to inspect and determine status of a nega. Rashi brings the Gemara Sanhedrin. We compare a nega to a riv, to a fight, to a court case, and just like a court case must be conducted by non-relatives, right? The judge cannot be a karev. Likewise, a nega has to be looked after by a non-relative. So that rules out Aaron HaKohen. Ella, rather, kavod gadol, a great honor was accorded to Miriam at that point. Chalak la'kadosh baruch hu Miriam, b'yisasho, Hashem gave her great kavod. Omar, Hashem says, Ani Kohen, I have a status of a Kohen. I'll take care of her. Vani masgira, I'll send her into quarantine. Ani cholta, I'll confirm that she's tamei. Vani poita, I'll release her. End quote. K'tani miyas. In any case, we just learned Moshe is a Zar, and therefore vein Zar, Roya could not take care of the nega, Roya Sanagoyim. How does that fit with Rav, who says Moshe Rabbeinu was a Kohen Gadol? Answers the Gemara, Ermar Nachman Bar Yitzchak. There are two aspects, two components to a Kohen. His ability to serve in the Mishkan, and that indeed Moshe Rabbeinu had. So that aspect of Kahuna he had. But it wasn't in the genes. He wasn't sort of a natural born Kohen. There's another aspect of Kahuna. For instance, inspecting a nega is not work, is not, Mishkan related. It's a function that a Kohen will do. Sort of a job, a role that he plays. That needs an actual Kohen. And that Moshe Rabbeinu did not have. And for that you needed Aaron HaKohen, etc. Amar Nachmar Yitzchak Shani Maris Negoyim. The determination regarding the types of Negoyim, that's different than serving the Mishkan. The Aron Nuvan of Ksubim Baparsha, the pasuk in describing who's authorized to tend to a nega, speaks about Aaron and his sons. You have to be in the family, and that certainly was not consistent with the Moshe Rabbeinu's status. Meisvei, here comes another kasha. Chamish simchas hoisa Elisheva Yisera al Bnei Yisrael. Elisheva, who was the sister of Nachshon. Elisheva, who was the wife of Aaron HaKohen. On that great day of celebration, the 8th day of Miluim, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, she had 5 measures of joy, of happiness, more than your typical, woman. Shchamesh smachos Elisheva Yisera al Bnei Yisrael. Yivam HaMelech, her brother-in-law Moshe Rabbeinu was the king, was the absolute leader of Klal Yisrael. Isha, her husband, Aaron HaKohen, was a Kohen Gadol. Bina, her son, Elazar, was a Sgan, was the vice president, vice Kohen Gadol. Ben Bina, her grandson, Pinchas, was Mashiach Muhammad, appointed as the leader who would lead them into battle. V'achia, and her brother, Nachshon, was a Nasi Shevet, leader of the Shevet. So 5 simchas, but one major tragedy as well. Va'avela, al shnei banea, she was in mourning on account of her 2 sons, Nadav and Avihu, who passed away on that day. In any case, the Brisa says, Yivam HaMelech. Her brother-in-law, Moshe Rabbeinu, was considered king. Let's assume. King, yes, but not Kohen Gadol. Melech in, Kohen Gadol. So we see he was not a Kohen. Answers the Gemara Ema, we can say, Af Melech. In addition to being a Kohen Gadol, he was also the king. Ketanoi. Actually, this question of Moshe Rabbeinu's status is really subject to Machlekes Tanoim. Some maintain that Moshe Rabbeinu was given the status of Kohen Gadol throughout his lifetime. Others say no, it was merely sort of a temporary pass to, be the trainer, so to speak, during the Shivas Mi'amiluim to train them in, but he wasn't really a Kohen Gadol. Ketanoi. Vayicharaf Hashem b'Moshe, when Moshe Rabbeinu sort of, hesitated, refused to accept Hashem's offer, Hashem's mission to go meet Paroi and get Klal Yisrael out of Mitzrayim. Hashem expressed expressed anger. Rabbi Yeshua ben Korcha Eimer, you're meant to know, this type of phrase, this type of expression always has a lasting effect. Kol charein af shabatorah. Whenever you should find this lashon charein af in the Torah, never by Roshim, you find discussed next to it some sort of effect, some sort of impact, a negative repercussion. Rashi brings several examples. Vayicharaf Hashem Yaakov berachel, right? Yaakov Noshan Azif, right? Except for this one. V'zeh lo nema by Roshim. Here you don't find a negative, consequence. However, Rabbi Shimon Yochai, he says, no, actually, avzeh nema by Roshim. Here as well we find some sort of negative impact. Shenamar, because then it says, Haloy Aroin Ochicha Halevi. Hashem tells Moshe, you know what? Go meet your brother Aaron, who was the Levi. I know he'll represent you to Paroi. He'll take care of things. The question is, why is he called Levi? We know that Aaron HaKohen was a Kohen. Hashem meant to say like this. Initially, you're going to be the Kohen. He was going to stay Levi. But now, you lost that privilege. Initially, I planned that you, Moshe Rabbeinu, Kohen, will be the Kohen. Who Levi, and he will be the Levi. But now it's switched around. Who Kohen, Ata Levi, he turns to Kohen, and you lost. And you'll be a Levi. Okay, so clearly, he was not given Kohen status. In similar fashion, the Chacham say, Niskayin Moshe, Elo, Shivas Yimei HaMiluim. Actually, Rashi learns that they dispute. No, it was never meant for Moshe. At most, he was just going to be sort of serving as a temporary kohen to train in, the other during the Shivas Yimei HaMiluim. Elo Shivas Yimei HaMiluim B'vad Yesh Ayrim. Others totally disagree, and they say that actually, once he was given that status during the Shivas, he kept it for life, consistent with Rav's Shita. Yesh Ayrim Lei Paska Kuna Al Mazar Shel Moshe. It never left him. It just didn't carry over to his kids, to the next generation. Shneimar, as it says in the pasuk, U'Moshe Ishalikim Banav, his sons will no longer have that kohen status. Rather, Yikor al Shevet HaLevi, they'll be called Levi. Vaymer, another pasuk likewise, which says Moshe Aaron v'Kohanav, that in fact Moshe v'Aaron are both regarded as Hashem Kohanim, Shmuel v'Kor Shemoi. Now, my Vaymer, why the second pasuk? To prove the same point of the first pasuk. The answer is v'chitema. Perhaps the first pasuk doesn't indicate that Moshe was a kohen, although it only refers to his kids as Leviim, which would indicate that he himself was a kohen. But no, maybe there is the reason is because it's speaking later on. This is a pasuk in Divrei Hayomim. discussing his kids, and it's after Moshe Rabbeinu's lifetime. So perhaps there was no point in going back and discussing Moshe Rabbeinu. So there's really no indication of Moshe Rabbeinu's own status. Maybe he was also only a Levi. That's why we need the second pasuk, which clearly calls him a Kohen. Va'omer Moshe v'Aaron b'Kohanim. Ask the Gemara, really? This term charonaf always leaves a lasting effect. V'ksiv. It says Vayetze me'im parei b'chariaf. When Paroi sort of negated Moshe Rabbeinu, he left b'chariaf. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu was very displeased. And we don't find any repercussions. He didn't tell him anything. Amr Shlakish, actually he did Satra v'yatza. Before he left, he gave him a slap across the face. Asked the Gemara, really? Umi Amr Shlakish hachi? Does Rish Lakish hold that Moshe Rabbeinu acted like that, sort of disrespectfully to Paroi? As befitting for Paroi, But the pasuk elsewhere says, when Hashem instructs Moshe Rabbeinu to go meet Paroi at the Nile, it says, "V'ksiv v'nitzavta l'krosei asfas hayor." What does v'nitzavta l'krosei mean? V'amar Rish Lakish, with respect. Give him his due respect, not because of his lofty character, but because of his position. He's a melech, position of leadership, which mirrors Kaviyachal Hashem's leadership. He's appointed by Hashem. You got to treat him with respect. V'amar Rish Lakish, melech, you should know he's a king. Despite all the shenanigans, he's a king. V'haz b'lei panim. Express yourself to him with respect. And this sort of contradicts Rish Lakish a minute ago, who says that he slapped him, right? That's Rish Lakish. Rabbi Yechon Amar, just the opposite. V'nitzavta l'krosei means challenge him for all he's worth. Amar Rasha, he's a Rasha. V'heyes panecha boy, go with brazenness, outright confront him. Says more Eifach, we have to switch around the names. Rish Lakish is the one who says that you meant to treat him with respect, and Rabbi Yechon is the one who says that. Rish Lakish is the one who says that you can, just confront him for what he's worth, consistent with the fact that he slapped him later on. Amar Rabbi Yame. Okay, further on this topic, one should always maintain a level of awe and fear to the king, regardless of who he is, regardless of his deficient, character. When Moshe Rabbeinu addressed Paroi the last time, he says, "Oh, you're going to be coming running to us later on when there's going to be some makas, some fun, makas b'cheres. You're going to be running over." But he doesn't say it directly to him. He doesn't reference Paroi himself running to him, even though that's what happened later. He came running in the middle of the night, right? It says, rather, v'yardu kol avodecha eleila. Your servants here will come running to me. He referenced the servants rather than directly to him. So we see that there's a measure of respect that's in place even under these circumstances. Rabbi Yechon Amar B'Hilcha have another raya to this point by Achav, the wicked king. Nevertheless, Eliyahu Hanavi treated him with great kavod. So he found himself together with Achav, just himself, and he sort of ran ahead, like as though he was, serving him. He ran sort of as as part of his entourage to give him cover because of his position. Amarullah. Speaking about Malchus, Bikesh Moshe Malchus. You should know that Moshe Rabbeinu requested from Hashem that he be given Malchus. He didn't get it. Hashem didn't give it to Chsiv, as it says, Atikrav Haloim. Way back in the Sneh, when he met the Shechina for the first, Atikrav Haloim, don't come over to Haloim, and Haloim means kingship. Vein Haloim, the word Haloim means Ela Malchus, Shenemar, as we find by David HaMelech later on when he expressed his gratitude to Hashem for giving him all those opportunities to be a king, etc. It says, Mi anoichi Hashem Alekim, ki avisani ad Haloim. I'm so grateful for you for giving me Haloim Malchus. Mosevra, I have a question. Moshe Rabbeinu did not get Malchus. Rabbi Shmuel Omer Yivam HaMelech. Look at the brisa we had before that Elisheva's brother-in-law Moshe Rabbeinu was the king. Apparently he had Malchus. Amar Rava. Sure, he himself did, but did not carry over to his progeny. Lo Elazar Kamar, we mean, to carry over to his descendants, and that didn't happen. Ask the Gemara, so again, the word halay means malchus for himself and future generations, the derusu. By Shaul it says, the lashon halayim, and we know it did not go past his person. It didn't go over to the kids. Who Zari, but his kids lie. By Sema, we have two answers. First is hava ishbaishes. Actually, it did go over to his descendants, ishbaishes, who was a king for a short time. By Sema, another answer to this question is, when the king successfully experienced kingship, then that experience carries over to the kids and there's continuity. But if for some reason it gets, aborted and abdicated due to something that he did wrong, like in the case of Shaul HaMelech, who lost the Malchus, then of course it doesn't carry over to the kids, even though initially it was meant to. By Shaul, it's very different. It didn't really last until his, for his, lifetime. Consistent with Rabbi Lazar, because initially, when one is granted a position of leadership and gedula, it's meant to be continuous, not just meant for himself. Meant for him and all his descendants until the end of time. Shnemar right? And the next words is the main thing. Okay, it just carries on for all time. But if he deviates, if he's rendered to be undeserving, if he's boastful and haughty, as the pasuk there says, "Vayikbahu," right? Hashem humbles him back. Shnemar v'asurim bezikim, tied up, yilkudun mechavli oini, and they lose their position of greatness. Okay, so in summary, we had a shaila regarding whether Moshe Rabbeinu was given the Kahuna Gedolah status. We discussed the Charoin Af effect. We discussed Malchus, which was initially meant for the Melech and his descendants. In the case of Shaul, was aborted. We discussed Moshe Rabbeinu's status vis-a-vis Malchus as well. Okay, back to the Mishnah. Bali Mumin, Ben Bali Mumin Kavu, and the Mishnah says that even if Baal Mum was not really able to do avodah, but is entitled to a chelik, to a portion in the carbon, despite the fact that it is not really work enabled, which is typically a requirement. So the obvious question is why? How do we know that Al Baal Mum is given this special perk? The Tanur Rabbanan, we have a brisa, and actually we're going to have three brises quoting the words Kol Zocher. Even the Baal Mum is entitled, and it's mentioned three times, once by the Mincha, once by the Chatas, once by the Asham, each one teaching us another sort of layer, another level of this halacha. The Tanur Rabbanan, we learned in a brisa, Kol Zocher, all male Kehanim are entitled to a portion. The rabbis to include even Bali Mumin, Lamai. Pertaining to what? To simply give him the permission to eat a carbon if he's invited to somebody's meal. Ilachila, sure, why shouldn't he be? Harik Par Omer already says, Nemar lechem alekov. The Yen of Almum can eat karbanos, mekacha kedashim meichel. Ella, rather, the point of kol zachar is lachaluka, to entitle him to a portion in the carbon. Tani, we have another brisa. Elsewhere, it repeats the words kol zachar again, the rabbis balimum, to cover balimum as well. And the question is, Lamai, regarding what? Ilachila, to allow him to eat as a guest of the other kain. Well, we already know that. Ilachaluka, to give him a portion. Again, that's been discussed. The answer is like this. Shiachal, I would think, ainli elatam, perhaps only a kain who developed a blemish later on in life. Since he was born okay, so he's not as severely blemished, and maybe he's entitled. But suppose he was born a blemished kain, missing a leg, right? Right? How do we know minai that he can get a chelik? Tamalei kol zachar, even he's included. Tanidach, we have a third brisa, kol zachar mentioned elsewhere. Once again, the rabbis balmum to cover the balmum. Regarding what? Lama ilachila to eat, or kvarmor. Old news. Vilachuka to give him a portion, or kvarmor. Old news. Vila balmum bikare. Is it to cover a natural balmum, or kvarmor? It's been discussed a minute ago. So what's the point of this additional pasuk? Sheyachal, I would think, depends how severe the blemish is. Depends how serious, how permanent it is. And the other balmum kavua, perhaps only a kohen who's permanently blemished. He's entitled, but balmum over. If it's just a temporary blemish, how do we know he's entitled? Kol zachar covers him as well. 1 second. Which way are we going? Klapi laya, which direction are you going? If anything, a permanent balmum is the more reason not to, right? Amrav sheishes eifach. Yeah, you have to switch around the formula. I would think only a temporary balmum comes the pasuk and adds even a permanent. Okay, Rav Ashi Amar, no. Stick the way it says. We don't have to switch anything. The point of the brayso is like this. I would think that only a kohen who's permanently disabled, so he has no hope of returning to the avodah. So Rashi says, compassion, chas rachmana alei, one off. Look, he's not gonna, be back. So it's either now or never. But if it's just a temporary blemish, perhaps he has to wait. Hold your horses. Wait patiently. Kitami, like a person who's tummy. Ma tummy, just like a kohen who's tummy. We don't allow him, right? Kama delay tar le'achal. Until you become tar, you're out. You don't eat. Afainami. Same with the balmum. Wait until you're cured. Afainami kama le'miskan le'achal. Until you're healed, don't eat. Kamashmala, no. Says the pasuk, a balmum is entitled to eat, entitled to get a portion, irrespective of the level of his mum. Kol sheni, right? But in general, we say if you're not fit for avodah, if you're a tameh, you're a tful yaim, right? Then you're not entitled to a chelik. V'loi, really, a very balmum. Just a minute ago said a balmum, despite the fact that he's deloi roy avodah, is not fit for service, can do avodah v'chelik and he gets a portion. So the halacha sort of contravenes the formula in the Mishnah, which says no work, no food. Visu, another question is, let's sort of flip it around on the positive side. Let's take the formula and infer on a positive side. Visu, you mean to say that if you are fit, you do get? Haroi lavoida chaylik, you get a portion? That also doesn't work. Hari tamei b'karbanei tzibur. It's a public carbon that can be brought when the tzibur is tamei. Even a kohen who's tamei can do the service, but let's say it was brought by a kohen tar, so it's edible. And now we have a kohen tummy standing on the side. Who wants to have the royal avodah? Technically, he's fit for service under these circumstances. Ve'ena chaylik. Fact is, he doesn't get a portion. You can, right? As we learned back on the Tzadik test. So basically, the formula doesn't really hold water. Mishnah says, not fit for work, you don't get a portion. First of all, balmum is not fit and gets. Then when you flip the formula to the positive side, well, if you are fit, you get. Again, the tummy is fit and he still doesn't get. Well, roy la'achila kamar. The mission didn't mean fit for work. He's able to eat. He's fit for eating. Then he is entitled to a portion. As opposed to the tummy who's not fit for eating. Okay. Well, again, that also doesn't work. Hare katan, the roy la'achila ve'ena chaylik. You have a katan, underage kohen. He's allowed to eat. Rashi brings a pasuk, right? And still he's not entitled to his own portion. Well, says the Gemara, halaik tani. The mission doesn't mean that you should flip it around to the positive side. The mission is saying, look, if you're not roy la'achila, like a tamei, then you don't get a chelik. That's it, stop right there. It wasn't meant to be inferred from. Okay? Says the Gemara, hashdas l'hachi, now that you've come to this clarity, at the formula in the Mishnah is just a one-sided formula on the negative side of the coin, not meant to be flipped around. Okay, so then just go back to the original version. If you're not fit to do avoida, you're not entitled to a portion. That's it. Just the sort of negative side of the formula is meant to be applied. It doesn't have a positive side. Imishum tummy. So then your question was, well, let's infer that if you are roy lavoida like a tummy, you should... No, tummy like tummy. We're not discussing that side. Not discussing anything that refers to a tummy. Because, again, it was just meant for like a half-sided formula. If you can't serve, you can't get chiluk. That's it. Vimishum balmum, now as to the first question. Even on the negative side, not fit for work, not entitled to a portion, we had a kasha because the balmum is not fit to do avoida and he gets a portion. Well, Rahman Rabbi. The Torah express itself, especially for the Balmum, right? The word's called Zachar repeatedly. Special pasuk to include the Balmum, he's an exception to the rule. But in general, one who's not fit, not qualified to do avodah, like a tameh, right? Like a yakatan, he does not get a chelik in the carbon. So if he's tameh, when they are marker of the carbon, he's out. Afilu tameh b'shas rikas damu, v'tor b'shas hekte chalav me'ene chelik. You're meant to know that even if he became tar later on, so during the phase of the Zrika, he was tameh. But during the second phase, when they were makter the chalav man mizbeach, he was okay, he was already tar, he lost his opportunity. Says the Gemara, let's infer from here, tar b'shas Zrikas dam. V'tameh b'shas hekte chalav. Let's say he was okay during the Zrika, but not okay during the burning of the chalav. So phase 1 he was good, but phase 2 he was out. Chalik, then he gets a portion. Because the pivotal moment is this Zrika, that's the kapara, that's the high point of the carbon. Mas nisn like Abashol, this is not going to work with Abashol, who says, unless the kohen is available during both phases, he doesn't get a chilek. The Sani Abashol, Eimer lo ilmeni oichel, at sheitar mishas Zrika, and the shasek techalav, from the Zrika until the hek techalav, Namakra, the pasuk says, Hamakar is damashlam, that's the Zrika, that's a chelev, that's the burning of the fat. We learned that afilu hek techalav namibo has to be available even during phase 2. By Rav Ashi, based on this, as Rav Ashi, I have a question. Let's say he was available during phase 1 and phase 2, but he was unavailable in the middle. Nitma bin Taima. So the Zrika took place at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he was tahar. The hek techalav took place at night. You could do it at night, and he became tummy, let's say at 5 o'clock. Ran to the mikvah, experienced head of shemesh at 6 o'clock. Now he's back in action. Available for the hek techalav, but he was unavailable in the middle. So the question is, as long as he was there by phase 1 and phase 2, he's entitled, or perhaps it's one continuum. And in this case, since it was an interruption, he's boxed out. Do we require availability during phase 1 and phase 2? And he qualifies. Or it has to be continuously available from beginning of phase 1 until the culmination of phase 2. Take it, we leave it unresolved. Amar Rava is an interesting Gemara. The following discussion, various kalvachomer arrangements, which pertain to our topic of unavailable during the Zrika, unentitled to a chelik. So this following discussion, Gamirna, I have learned. I learned from Rabbi Shimon, the Amar Beis HaKisei, who studied it in a Beis HaKisei, and the first one explained that he didn't say it over there. He just contemplated these things because he was so preoccupied with his Torah that wherever he went, he just couldn't help but, delve into the intricacies of Talmud Torah, of the Heilige Torah. And then he presented it to Rava, as somewhere outside, but it was originally sort of constructed in the Beis HaKisei. Interesting. Okay, Danta. So you can present the following Kal V'chomer arrangement. So we know that a kohen was tamei, a tvul yom, let's say, even though he already immersed in mikveh, but he hadn't completed his purification process until the sunset. He's not ready for the avodah, and he's not entitled to a chelik. So he turns to his fellow, kohen who was serving on that day. He says, I see that you offered a mincha today. Can I please have part of it? He goes to his fellow kohen. He says, I'd like to have a portion of the mincha. Amar loy. So his friend says, no way. Umayim b'makim sheyaf k'chach b'chatoscha. I have a kal v'chomer to lock you out, because even by a chatos, you, my good friend the kohen, your own personal chatos, you bring it to the Beis HaMikdash. So typically, when a Yisrael brings a carbon, he has to allow that daily sort of rotation, that group of Kehanim to tend to the carbon and take the basar for themselves, right? But the halacha is that if a Kohen brings a carbon, he can come up any day that he wants, and it's his business. he's makrivit, and he gets all the perks and benefits. He gets the basar, right? Even when it comes to your chatas, right? So a chatas, you have privileges by a chatas. You bring a chatas, Mr. Kohen, it's yours. So despite your advantage regarding a chatas, still, michatas Yisrael. But let's say we're working together in the same group today, right? And you're a tvul yaim, you're not entitled to a chelik. I pushed you away. I rejected you from getting a chelik in the chatas that Yisrael brought today, right? As we learned back in the Gemara before, you have to be available to the work. You're not available. Certainly, when it comes to a mincha, right? He wanted a chelik of a mincha, so he's going to try to disprove that. He's going to try to reject him from the mincha. So we know for a fact that by a chatas, in order to be entitled to a portion, you have to be available for work. Certainly by a mincha, he says, certainly when it comes to a karba mincha, well, you're weaker, Mr. Kohen. Rashi explains, because even if you bring your own mincha, you can't eat it. A mincha of a kohen is totally consumed on mizbeach, so you sort of have a disadvantage, a weakness by a mincha. Certainly, I have a right to push you away today and not give you a portion of the mincha that Yisrael brought today, because you're at full yom and unavailable to do work. Ein adin, of course, I'll push you away mincha Yisrael from getting a portion in the mincha Yisrael. Okay, so the full yom responds, well, not so quick. You can't compare. A mincha to chatas. I understand why you pushed me away from getting a chelik in the chatas Yisrael, because you have no advantage over me regarding a chatas. Shekashem sheyafa kaychi, kach yafa kaychacha. Because just like, theoretically, I have an advantage when I bring my own chatas, I can take care of it myself, it's fully mine. Likewise, you would have theoretically the same power with your chatas. So I understand that we're sort of on, equal playing to the chaynim and mincha. What right do you have to push me away from getting a chelik in the minchas Yisrael that was brought today? Shekashem shura kaychi, kachur kaychacha. Well, just as I have a disadvantage, a weakness, like we said before, when a kohen brings a mincha, it's totally burnt. So that pertains to you too. When you bring your mincha, you have the same issue. So again, why should you think that it's so simple that you can push me away from a mincha today? Right? So again, he walked into the Beis Hamikdash. He meets his fellow kohen. He says, "I understand that I was at full yom when you offered this mincha, but I'd like a portion." So the fellow responds with a kal v'chomer, "Lamdus, no way. Certainly by the mincha you're out." Not so simple. Oh, so who wins? Hariyoma. We have a pasuk which says that by mincha as well. La kohen ha'makriv oisel. The one who tends to the akrava, the one who's available during the akrava, he gets a portion. And therefore he says to his friend, look, boy, next time come along, do the akrava and you'll have. Not this time. Okay, so we have a pasuk for mincha as well. Next debacle. Tainli mechatis Yisrael. Tvul Yom tells his friend the kohen, actually, I see you brought a nice chatas today, chatas of Yisrael. I'd like to get a portion. Right? So it's nighttime, I'm ready to eat, please give me a portion. Amar Lois, he says to his friend, no way. Once we know that by the mincha you have to be available during the akrava to get a chelik, certainly by the chatas, based on a kal v'chomer. Amar Lois. Uma b'malkem shura koichim minchaschi, even by a mincha, where I personally have a disadvantage, when I bring my own mincha, I have to fully burn it, I have nothing to eat from it. Minchas Yisrael. Still, when it comes to Minchas Yisrael, that you were at full yom during the akrava, I push you away from a chelik, I reject you, like we said before. Certainly by a chatas, I have that power. Where I have extra privileges by a chatas, I bring my own chatas, I take care of it myself, that gives me an advantage. Certainly, I have an advantage over you in this scenario, when you were unavailable at the time of akrava. Ein adin, of course, I'll push you away from getting a chelik in the chatas Yisrael. Amar Leis, so the Tvul Yom tells him, what do you mean? How can you compare? Maybe by the mincha you're right, but not by the chatas. Umahim shedichisani minchas Yisrael. I understand that you push me away from the minchas Yisrael. Shekashem shuru kaychacha, kachor kaychi, because when it comes to mincha, we both have a disadvantage. When you bring your own mincha, you burn it. Likewise by me, so we have a disadvantage by a mincha. Tedecheni mechatas Yisrael as opposed to chatas Yisrael. Shekashem sheyafa kaychacha, kachefa kaychi. Right? Just as when you bring your own chatas, it's your own personal carbon, you can eat it completely. So you have that extra power. I have the same power by my own chatas. So maybe when it comes to chatas, I have extra power, and even though I was unavailable during the akrava of the chatas Yisrael, give me a portion tonight. No, we have that pasuk which says unavailable for work, unentitled to a portion. Only the one who's available eats it, gets a portion. Come, work on the carbon and you'll get, meaning you weren't here, you weren't available, you're out. Okay, so he's done with his attempts at getting a portion of a mincha, of a chatas. Here comes the next attempt, Amar Loi. So the Tful Yaim, who is no longer a Tful Yaim because it's nighttime, Amar Loi, he tells his friend, his colleague, the Kohen, who was around during the day, could you share with me part of the chazav eshaik, that's the portions that they take away from the, separate from the shlamim and give to the Kohen. Amar Loi, tainli mi chazav eshaik, v'eicha, I'd like to have a portion of that. Amar Loi, his friends responds, he says, no way. Look, you can't even get a chelik of the chatas under these circumstances, as we have already established, certainly from the chazav eshaik, based on a kal v'chomer. Amar Loi, uma, since, even b'makom sheyafa keichacha, even from a chatas you can't take, which is something that you, in a way, have an advantage on. You have an upper hand, in a sense, because, as we said before, if you would bring your own chatas to the Beis Hamikdash, nobody gets in your way. Nevertheless, despite that advantage, I've pushed you away when it concerns the chatas that Yisrael brought and processed today when you were not around. So if that works by the chatas, certainly when it comes to a shlamim, such as this one here, you have no right to demand a portion, makaim, in a situation, shura kechacha b'shlamim. It's a shlamim where you have a disadvantage in a sense. Why? What's the disadvantage? Because, when a shlamim is brought to the Beis Hamikdash, all the kohanim get are the chazav eshaik, so it's a very limited access. So in a way you have a disadvantage when it comes to this type of carbon. Certainly, of course, I have a right to reject you. Ein adin, of course. Shadichacha, I will have a right to push you away, and you can't demand a portion. Well, the other fellow doesn't just let him go, and he says, what do you mean? How could you compare this to the chatas? Sure, I understand why you pushed me away from the chatas. Because I'm at a disadvantage when it comes to chatas in general. Shikein hura koichi. I have a weakness. Eitzel nashai, va'avodai. Even when a kohen, a legitimate, kohen in a legitimate situation, when he gets a chelik of the carbon, chatas, can he feed it to his family, his wife, and his servant? No. Hey, hura koichi etzel nashai va'avodai. My wives are my servants. I can't feed them the chatas. It's only meant for the male kohanim. So it's understood that when it comes to chatas, I have a disadvantage. But when it comes to chazav eshaik, which I can feed to my entire family, including servants, what right do you have to push me away? Where I have the upper hand. Eitzel, with respect to feeding it to nyashai va'avodah. So you would think he prevails. Says the Gemara, no, we have a pasuk specifically to disenfranchise him, to cancel his claim pertaining to chazav eshaik because he was not around during the akrava. The pasuk says, only the kohen was involved in the zrika or was available at the time. Yeah, he gets it. Okay, next time you're here on time, you'll get. Come along and be part of the zrika and you'll have. But today, you're out of luck. Okay? So after all said and done, Tful Yaim turns around and just leaves. He can't get the mincha, nor the chatas, nor the chazav eshaik. With all his arguments and all his presentations, kula v'chamurav. This is kal v'chomer in plural. All his kals and his chomers, al roishai, perched on his head, on the way out, empty-handed. And he has company, by the way. He's not the only one that can claim a portion. We have the Oynein, who was also unavailable during the day, Mimini, on his right. There's a whole crew. Mechusak Apar, the fellow who needed a carbon to finish his purification, again, was not available during the day. who attempted to come and take part mismailoi to this fellow's left. So it's a whole crew, and they have to find their meal elsewhere. Now comes a question from Rabbi Chai. Fine, he's out of luck when it comes to claiming a portion of chatas, mincha, right? But he can still ask for something. I'd like to have a portion of a bechor. Right, the firstborn kosher animal which was brought today as a korban. I wasn't around, I wasn't available, but I'm here now. It's nighttime, I'm available. Give me a chelak of that. No. So the colleague will answer, no. Mishum da amarle, because he can respond with a flat out no, based on a kal v'chomer. If you don't claim chatas, certainly not a bechor. Says the officiating kohen, he says, look, even when it comes to chatas, where, in a way, I have a disadvantage. I can't feed a chatas to my family. It's only meant for the males. Nevertheless, I successfully rejected your claim pertaining to a chatas of Yisrael, which was brought today when you were not available, as we discussed before. If that works by chatas, certainly by bechor. Certainly by bechor, where I generally have more power. The kulei diliu. The kohen who receives the bechor gives it to distributes it to his entire family. It's totally his. So certainly I have a right to push you away in this case. Then of course, I will shove you away mimenu from this bechor that was offered when you were not available. Well, the other fellow doesn't give up so quickly, and he responds in kind. What do you mean? I understand why you can push me away from the chatas. Just as you have a disadvantage, I too. So yeah, we're on even playing ground. Okay. But when it comes to a bechor, who says you can reject my claim regarding the bechor? Where just as you have an advantage, you can feed it to whoever you want. I have the same advantage. So who's to say that you win? That's why we need a new pas to reject his claim regarding bechor as well, unless you're there and available to work, as damam tizraik al mezbeach, as chalbam taktiv, upsaram yelecha. Only one who is available. Boy is roik vechel. Today you're too late. Next time, come on time. Be around by the zrika vechel. You'll earn your portion. Now, this was Rabbi Chai's presentation, but Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon, only presented a pasuk to negate his claim regarding a portion of mincha, chatas, and chaz v'shoik. Why not this pasuk as well? The other shita says no. This is not a proper source. Parach, he'll respond and refute. Look at the order of the pasuk. Miksiv, does the pasuk then say ubsaram lakoyin hazorik? The basar is offered only to a kohen who's involved in zrika, which would indicate, as you said. Actually, it says, go do the zrika, and then it says, ubsaram yelachaksiv. Then take the basar, which sounds like anybody. I feel kohen acher. That's why he did not agree to this source, and it was only Rabbi Chai who presented it as sort of an add-on. Now the question is, this whole discussion, Rava presented something that I heard from Rabbi Lezer Shimon bebeis hakisei. Asked the Gemara, how could one learn in an unclean place in a beis hakisei, unbefitting for the holy words of Torah? V'amar Rabba bar brachan Rabbi Yechon, he told us, b'chal makom u'talahara. One is allowed to contemplate words of Torah anywhere, on the road, on the plane, anywhere. Chutz min berachat, beis hakisei, except for a bathhouse or a beis hakisei. So how could this whole kal v'chomer arrangement, this sort of simulated debate, track its origins in the beis hakisei? Says the Gemara, lo eitzei shani. A person is not meant to intentionally learn Torah in a beis hakisei, but when it's lo'ines, out of his hands, out of his control, it's just second nature. Rashi says on the bottom line, lo'ines means sheisa shmoasa shkura b'fiv u'mahar b'al karchai. It was just his life, inseparable, right? His mind was constantly generating words of Torah. So that is is permitted. Okay, let's recap today's daf. We had a discussion regarding the status of Moshe Rabbeinu. Was he not a Kohen Gadol for life? We discussed the kavod towards Malchus, irrespective of the individual character we're talking about. We discussed the right of a balmum to a chelik in a carbon despite not being available, although typically only one who's available is going to lay claim to a portion of the carbon. In fact, according to some, he has to be available during the Zrika and during the Aktorah. There's a question of whether it has to be continuous. And then we culminated the daf with several sources, several psukim, which teach us this very point regarding chatas, mincha, chazav v'shoik, and perhaps even bachar. All the best to you and much hatzlacha.